Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the round 13 preview as well as taking a look back at round 12 at some of the best players there. But get ready, we've got some good captain options for the weeks ahead and we're in the middle of another set of bye rounds. But before that, let's have a look at last week's best of the crop. And of course, it's starting off with Isaac Heaney at the top there. 163 for him at home against Richmond on the weekend. An absolute masterclass against the bunny team of the competition this year. Isaac Heaney absolutely dominating. A few Sydney Swans in this list today. And the second one here, another Sydney boy, the GWS Giants backman Lockie Ash got back to it on the weekend. 131 for him as well against the Demons out in, was it TO Stadium out in the middle of Northern Territory. So a big day out there in the middle of the country for Lockie Ash. Charlie Curnow brought huge numbers in that bunny game against the Richmond Tigers. Kicked a bag, got 130 in the end. An absolute monster day out for him, especially that first quarter. I think he kicked 3 or 4 and just, went to town on the Richmond Tigers on the weekend. So Charlie Curnow, a rare bit of form in the top echelon here. Same with Jordan De Goey, actually. He's been in a great bit of form the last couple of weeks. Great outing against the Bulldogs on the weekend. 127 for him. Bailey Smith, again, up here doing his thing. A big day out in that very interesting loss to Carlton on the weekend. 126 for Bailey Smith. Darcy Wilmot in another bitter loss for the Premiers against the red hot Fremantle Dockers. Darcy Wilmot got a lot of it on the weekend down back. 125 for him. Chad Warner, another Sydney boy, getting busy on the weekend. 123 for a few of these guys now. Chadley Warner absolutely dominated in the bunny matchup on the weekend. Finn Callaghan, another one out in the middle of the country, absolutely dominated against the Demons. I think he had like 35 disposals plus a couple of goals. Disposal efficiency was insane. Finn Callaghan, ripping good form on the weekend. 123 for him. James Sicily down back for the Hawks, getting something done in a big win against the Saints, actually. So the Hawks were firing on the weekend, apparently. Got a few tons on the board in the end, and James Sicily was the best of them down back. And you got to say, St Kilda was a little bit decimated by the end of the night, and like injury-wise, I mean, and also on the scoreboard. But James Sicily pulling out the numbers for that one. Max Gawn, of course, and a pretty decent matchup against Kieran Briggs out. Another one in the Northern Territory matchup against the Giants. 123 for Big Gawny. He was solo rucking again, and that was good to see, getting the pig on. And finally there, Connor Iden, another Giant. So big matches for the Sydney teams this week. Connor Iden, the final one here, 120 plus for the weekend. 122 for him in that, ended up being a big game out there at TO Stadium. Racks up the fantasy numbers, apparently. And some of my favourite players here, guys. To start us off, another Sydney boy, Tom McCartan, was just clunking him for fun down back against the Richmond Tigers. 113 for him on the weekend, well above his average for the year so far. Willem Dersma had a great showing, absolutely leading the way for the West Coast against the Essendon Bombers out at home. And Dersma absolutely got to town on the Bombers on the weekend. Zach Bailey for Brisbane, 107 for him in a, hard day for Brisbane against Fremantle, but he was a shining light. Same with these two, Darcy Wilson and Jack Silvani were clunking it for fun, and Darcy Wilson was just getting forward, getting in the middle a bit, racking it up. 107 and 106 for those two guys. A couple of forwards and defenders to get started here. Harvey Thomas for the Giants, another star for this year. Nice sophomore or third-year player that's really come into his own. He's on the wing. He's kicking goals up front. I think he got a little bit of CBA time on the weekend. So he's been busy. Unfortunately, he's on the bye this week, though. Connor McDonald and Cam Mackenzie for my Hawks. A couple of young guns really putting the sword to the Saints on the weekend. Cam Mackenzie felt like he was everywhere. And Connor McDonald had a great second half, I felt. Kicked a goal, was just plenty of marks, plenty of tackles, doing a bit of everything. So a couple of Hawks kicking on last week. Peter Laddams in the matchup that, Brodie Grundy decided to sit out against the Richmond Tigers. So Peter Laddams decided to take full control and ended up tunning up in his first or second game of the year. big game for him. Sydney Rucks, whoever it is, going to dominate, apparently, especially against the Bunny matchup in Richmond. Riley Sanders, he's been on this list a few times this year. Hasn't hit the big numbers yet, but he has been on my favourite playlist at least 3 times this year, hitting or close to the ton. He's having a great third-year breakout, getting lots of midfield time without Libba. And Treloar's back, but it's still doing his thing, Riley Sanders. So very happy to see him having a great patch of form the last couple of weeks, Riley Sanders. Ollie Dempsey for the Cats in, again, that tough loss against Carlton on the weekend. Carlton getting it done, but Ollie Dempsey was a shining light for the Cats. He's getting plenty of the ball in the middle and on the wing, and I think he kicked a couple as well. So great day out for Ollie Dempsey. Connor Buderick for the Dogs as well. Didn't quite get the ton, but he had a great first half or 3 quarters. Went a bit quiet in that last one. Could have got the ton, but yeah, still a good day out for old Connor Buderick. Nice utility option. Good defender for us. Jake Waterman had a day out against the Bombers. A few Eagles did in the end. Jake Waterman kicked a bag, I think, or a fair few. A 96 for him at the butt end of last week. Massimo D'Ambrosio, fantastic left boot on the wing and out of defense for the Hawks. He's got a great inside 50 kick, and he got close to the ton as well with 96. And finally, another Eagle here to finish this off. Millen Murdoch, the supplement recruit at the start of the year, and he has come into his own in a few weeks. Not sure if he's tunned up yet, maybe a quick ton, but getting up there most weeks, getting a good floor most weeks he's playing. Hopefully they don't use him as a tagger anymore, but he has been great for the Eagles, and hopefully he can continue his amazing form to start the year. So some of the matchups for this week ahead, guys. We are in the midst of the bye week still, but there's only 2 teams on the bye this week. That's the Giants and the Richmond Tigers. So only 2 on the bye. So we've still got 8 matches to look forward to this weekend, and it's spread out over 5 days. So it's going to be a long road ahead for this weekend from Thursday till Monday. And on Thursday night, we're starting off with Adelaide versus the Cats at Adelaide Oval. So both teams have been mid-tier on the ladder, I'd say, this year. Bit of hot, bit of cold for both teams. Cats coming off a big loss last week to the Blues, and the Crows, coming off the bye, so they'll be a bit refreshed. Thinking Jordan Dawson's going to get busy. Bailey Smith's been amazing. Max Holmes hopefully going to get back to it. But Adelaide at home is usually a tough ask for a lot of teams, and Adelaide Oval should be firing on Thursday night after their bye. Crows should be coming out swinging, I think, against maybe a little bit soften up Cats from last week. But no, I reckon a few defenders are going to get busy tomorrow. You got Tommy Stewart, Lawson Humphreys, Miller down back, Josh Worrell for the Crows. There's a few defenders I really like in this matchup, and I reckon could be a defenders game on Thursday night. A couple of the Crows forwards like Phil Thorpe, don't know if he's in playing, but he's been a bit off. Rankin's out, obviously. Not for too long, though, so I hear. So it might be a bit of Josh Rochelle in the middle, maybe even Jake Saligo or something for the Crows. Sam Berry's been pretty good, so there's a few options for the Crows, I think, in that one. And the Cats, as I said, Bailey Smith, Max Holmes are the main 2. I think James Warple's been all right in the VFL at least, but haven't seen him at AFL level. Tom Atkins in the middle, maybe. Would like to see him kicking on a bit better. The Cats midfielders just kind of lacking the last couple of weeks, I think. But tell you who isn't lacking and who's never going away is Jeremy Cameron. So he should be fit and firing on Thursday night, ready for a good matchup against the Crows. And I'll be there for all these ones, guys. The tick's on the right, meaning I'll be watching all these games. So please come and join me on the weekend, by the way. Just like and subscribe and you'll know when we're going live on the weekend. Usually get in the chat and have a bit of fun with some banter as well. So please come join me on Thursday night for Crows versus the Cats. Hawks versus Dogs, though, on Friday night as well. Should be an absolute ripper to start the weekend. Hawks coming off a big win last week, and the Dogs also coming off a good win against the Pies and a good win streak at this point. So they've got a little bit of form, even though they've lost a few players this year. Could be an absolute cracker of a game, though. Obviously, you got the Bont, you got the Hawks midfielders in Nuke, Ward. Will Day was back last week. Good to see. He had a pretty decent day out, actually, and the shoulder held up all right. And yeah, plenty of dogs there. Tim English back as well. So thinking he's going to get busy against a couple of Hawks. Ruckman and yeah, Bailey Dale, Ed Richards, obviously. A couple of big names for the dogs. And yeah, James Sisley down back, hoping he can keep his form going. He's our general. And if he's got the long sleeve on, get his superpowers going. But yeah, interesting matchup. Definitely one of the best matchups, I'd say, for the week ahead. Absolute cracker on Friday night. Should be awesome. And yeah, few VC options in that one as well. Bont, Dale, Tinglish, maybe even James Sicily. We'll see. Saturday, we got 3 games, starting off with North Melbourne versus the Dockers at Hands Oval. Interesting one out in the country. North Melbourne, a little bit, yeah, obviously doing North Melbourne things, a little bit wayward some weeks, but just missing out as well. Getting close to the wins some weeks as well. So a little bit hot, a little bit cold as normal. And yeah, against the Fremantle Dockers, who are very, very hot right now. I think they're on their best win streak ever and one of their best patches of football they've ever been playing. So that's going to be a very tough matchup for the North Melbourne Kangaroos. LDU, Cherry, Cubby McKercher would like to see him doing a bit more. But I think Harry Sheasel should be out for a big one on the weekend. He's due. And yeah, after the bye last week, expecting a few North Melbourne guys to be fit and firing, hopefully. But as well as that, you got some Dockers that are kicking on as well. Shai Bolton's been off. Brayshaw's been a bit off. Jackson's been a bit off, but they're still getting the wins. Fremantle Dockers. I don't think any Fremantle players actually turned up last week, interestingly, even though they got a big win. But Fremantle, a little bit iffy fantasy-wise this time of year. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes the teams that are winning aren't actually dominating individually on the fantasy side of things. There isn't one player taking it. Every player is getting a piece of it. So wondering who is going to get busy for Fremantle on the weekend. Maybe Caleb Sarong back? Not sure yet. Could be an interesting one. Let me know which Dockers you reckon are going to tee off against North Melbourne on the weekend. Interesting to hear that one. Gold Coast Suns against Brisbane. The Q clash midway through Saturday should be a cracker. Brisbane have been in some weird form though, so interesting to see if they can come back and get a few tons on the board maybe this week. And Gold Coast have been in some decent form. A little bit of off last week with the loss, I guess, but not last week, the week before, just before the bye. I think they'd be fit and ready to come back firing after the bye last week. Noah Anderson's been in good form. Rao's back. He hit a big ton last time he played. I think last time he played Brisbane, he had a day out. So that could be one to watch. As well as that, Tuke Miller, Petrarca in the middle. Should be, the 4 of them absolutely firing on the weekend. Maybe a couple of defenders in John Noble. A few defenders down the back for both teams, though. Darcy Wilmot as well for the Lions. Absolutely dominating last week. 130 on the board. So hoping he can bring a bit more this week. No Kitty Coleman, though. He's out with the hamstring strain or calf. And so maybe someone like Jasper Fletcher picking up the slack with Dane Zorko still out as well. So interesting one for the Lions. They've been in some weird form. And some of their big names have not been popping off. Lockie Neal, Josh Dunkley, Hugh McCluggage was terrible last week. Will Ashcroft has been average. Levi's been a bit average as well. So just weird times for the Lions. They got all these guns and they are not firing. So not sure how that one's going to go. I think Gold Coast is actually going to get it done on the weekend at People First Stadium. So should be a good one midway through Saturday. And then on Saturday night, you've got West Coast Eagles at home against the Port Adelaide Power. And Eagles coming off a big win last week and back at home again. So maybe a few of their up-and-coming superstars going to be fit and firing, popping off again. Willem Dersma was good. Harley Reid, obviously. Even Liam Duggan's been all right the last couple of weeks. And for the Power, coming off a bye, Zach Butters, obviously the big name to look at there. And maybe Jason Horne-Francis as well. Away from home, interesting. Could be a few defenders getting busy as well. Is that Kane Farrell maybe down back? A few others down there. Burgoyne perhaps. So, I think it'll be a day out for defenders again in that one. Maybe Jake Waterman, though. He's been in some good form up front. And a few Eagles coming into the team. Would like to see maybe some mid-season draftees this week. I know the Crows have named one. Would love to see a couple of those Eagles mid-season draftees get named. And maybe some interesting fantasy scores from a few of their lesser-known players, the West Coast Eagles. I've got a little vibe for them this week. I reckon they could get it done against the Power. On Sunday, though, Sydney Swans against St Kilda at the SCG. That should be a good matchup. Swans have been obviously in amazing form. Smashing Richmond last week wasn't too hard. But St Kilda coming off a big loss last week, and they lost Sam Flanders. So just a bit of a weird one for them. I reckon they're probably going in the underdogs into the den at the SCG. But yeah, still some big names at St Kilda fantasy-wise that we should be getting to see on the weekend. Wondering if Nazaya Wanganeen-Millera will be back. And obviously, yeah, Isaac Heaney for the Swans, absolutely dominating last week. Going to keep that form going. Would love to see Brodie Grundy back if he's just taken a break, hopefully. Then you got Chadley Warner. Curno's in great form from last week. A few other Swans there, absolutely getting amongst it as well. So, very interesting one. And yeah, St Kilda, a lot of work to do there. Their midfielders have been the best of them. Maybe their defenders as well. But their forwards have just struggled the last couple of weeks, I think. So, would love to see a few forwards kicking on for St Kilda. But I think it's all about the defenders for them. Wilkie, Naz, Sinclair, a couple of midfielders who are forwards, as in Mateus Philippou as well. He's been all right the last couple of weeks. Max Hall has been awesome. I would love to see Hugo Garcia come out and do well away from home as well. So big names in that one as well, guys. Do love St Kilda players for fantasy scores. Usually get a few tons on the board. And finally on Sunday, Essendon versus Carlton. Interesting one there. Carlton, 3-game win streak. Very interesting stuff. They've been getting it done every week. Paddy Cripps, Sam Walsh getting it done in there. And yeah, the Bombers obviously up struggle street, but they've got a few fantasy relevant ones there. Zach Merritt, absolutely dominating. Parrish has been okay. Archie Roberts, a little bit off last week, but I think he'll be back to it at the G on Sunday night. And yeah, wondering if they'll be blooding a mid-season draftee or two as well. Artemis, perhaps, and maybe get Dyson Sharp back in the team. Roby's been good. Sullivan Roby for the Bombers. So there's a few there for the Bombers I'd like to see kick on as well. Carlton-wise, though, do have a few in that one. I've got Jagger Smith, I've got George Hewitt, and yeah, that could be a matchup for Carlton Fantasy against the Bombers as well. So could be a few big scores happening there for the Blues. Let me know who you think is going to top for that one. I'm wondering if it's going to be old Sammy Walsh having a 35 disposal game against the Bombers on Sunday night. And finally, on Monday, the big freeze is happening in the Collingwood versus Melbourne matchup. Collingwood, yeah, weird times after the Pendlebury big game. Would love to see them blood a few rookies or younger guys this week. And the Demons coming off a big loss last week to the Giants out in the middle of the country. I'm sure they'll be looking to bounce back. Big Max Gorney in the ruck doing the solo work was fantastic last week. But would love to see a few of their midfielders do a bit more. They really fell off a cliff last week. Jack Steele, Cozzy Pickett, Langford, Windsor, even Rivers and Sparrow were kind of struggling a bit last week. So a couple of the Demons guys need to kick on. And they got a few defenders there that could really be popping off as well against maybe a little bit of a undermanned Pies, you'd say. But obviously you've got Nick Dacos. Jordan DeGoey's been good. Darcy Cameron in the ruck against Gawn. Should be an interesting one. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of fire on Monday, guys, to finish off. And yeah, once again, I'll be watching all these games here, guys. So please hit that subscribe button. Come hang out with me during all these games. Should be a bit of fun. And let me know who you think is going to be the highest score in some of these matches on the weekend. Finally, guys, I've got my captain options for the week ahead. And even with a couple of teams out, I've still got a few. Starting off on Thursday night against Geelong, I think Jordan Dawson, obviously, coming off the bye. He was huge just before the bye. I think he's going to keep it going at home against the Cats, 100%. He is going to be in the middle, getting tackles, getting marks. 25 plus disposal game on the cards against the Cats, I'm thinking. And Bailey Smith, can't not have him on this list. He's been amazing this year. A couple of off games, but still 35 disposals here every week, it feels. So I think got to lock him in for a VC on Thursday night. But I do think there'll be a couple in the first match on Saturday. Harry Sheasel and possibly Andy Brayshaw is a bit of a dark horse, I'm thinking. He had a huge game last time, did Andy, and 130 plus, I think, last time against North Melbourne. So I'm wondering if he can, get back into some kind of form there on the weekend. Loves to go against the Kangaroos. And same with Harry Sheezel. Loves to play the Dockers, actually. Last time he played 120 plus, I think. And another one that might be due for a big one on Saturday. Just after that, though, got the Q Clash. I think there'll be a couple in that one that will go big. Matty Rowell in particular, 120 last week. And last time he played the Lions, I think he went 140 plus. So he loves playing in the Q Clash, and I think he is going to come out firing on the weekend. Lockie Neal, wondering if he's going to come back into some form. Loves to go up and down like a yo-yo, but I think he's going back up this week with, maybe 30 plus disposals on the weekend would be nice from him. Zach Butters against West Coast, even though I think West Coast might have the wood against the Port Adelaide on the weekend, I think Zach Butters is a good shout for a captain against the Eagles. He'll be getting amongst it, absolutely charging through the middle like he does. So expecting a 30 plus disposal game for Butters against the Eagles. Heaney and Grundy against St Kilda, very interesting one. I think Grundy's coming back in, hopefully, and is going to have an absolute monster day against a decent ruck matchup in Rowan Marshall and Tom de Koning. And after Heaney, 160 plus last week, I think he's going to come close to doing something like that again this week. 120 on the cards, I think, for Isaac Heaney. He's just been in amazing form. Jack Sinclair as well in the same game. I think, Sam Flanders out, Nazaya coming back maybe. I think, if those two definitely aren't there, it's all Jack Sinclair down back and in the middle and leading the way for the Saints at the SCG in a very tough matchup for them on the weekend. Then we got Bombers versus Carlton after that. I'm thinking a couple of Bombers are actually going to be the biggest numbers on the page for that match. Zach Merritt and Archie Roberts getting amongst it. I think Zach Merritt still going to be the best midfielder on the ground, but I think Carlton will be up front a lot and missing a lot of goals or being in the forward 50 a lot. I think Archie Roberts is going to get a lot of kick-ins or on the end of a lot of kick-ins on the weekend as well. So a couple of Bombers there I'm thinking are going to tee off. And then the final game there, guys. 3 captains I've got in that final one. Nick Dacos, Jordan De Goey, and of course, Max Gawn solo rucking. Nick Dacos, what do you have to say? Obviously, he's going to be out firing on the weekend, getting plenty of uncontested possessions and marks. Would love to see him lay a tackle, though. I don't think I saw him lay a tackle last week. But John De Goey was getting a bit of everything. He's getting in the middle. He's charging it forward like he was a 23-year-old again. He's been dominating the last couple of weeks, so could be worth putting the C on him on Monday. And finally, Max Gawn was back solo rucking on the weekend in round 12 and hoping he can do it again on Monday after a bit of a break. And Gawny, when he's solo rucking, could be 115, 120 plus territory on the weekend against Darcy Cameron. But I think he will have the wood over him and he's going to go big on Monday for the big freeze. So there you have it, guys. That is my round 13 preview for the week ahead. Couple of captain options, got the matchups with a couple of teams on the buys. But it should still be a bit of fun, guys. And once again, please come and join me on the weekend. We'll be watching the games right here with the stats on the screen. Watch a long time. So please come and join me for that. Like and subscribe here and on social media. And play some Game Day Squad if you haven't already, guys. Bit of card collecting, bit of keeper fantasy. Use the code word MONSTAR to get some free packs as well. So thank you again, guys. And until the weekend or tomorrow night, I'll see you then.